Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks with me, Antonow too. And today I'm welcoming you from the World of Tanks test server of patch 8.7. And I've had some problems installing this test server, so it took me a bit of a while till I could get onto it. But now I'm there, and I'm gonna just show you what changes there are and what they're like and so on. For those guys of you who haven't got the chance to get on the test server because they just don't have the time or just don't want to download updates for 5 hours to get onto it. So this is the MT27, not 27, 25. It's the new Russian light tank, and it's replacing the T50-2. I will just have a quick look at it in the tech tree. Russia there, and as you can see now, the T50 leads up to the T34, and that means that you can get the T34 now by going down your tank line that actually leads up to the heavy tank. So you can get the T26, the T46, then the T50, and then you get the T34. So that's nice. And now what I think is a bit of a shame is that this MT25 at tier 6 here is located between the KV1S, so you can go to it by the KV1S, and then you can unlock the medium tank KV13 from it. That doesn't really make sense to me, because you can unlock a light tank from a heavy tank. You first of all get light tank, light tank, medium tank, heavy tank, light tank, medium tank. That's a bit strange. The way I would have thought it would be, because they said the replacement for the T50 is just that they carry on this line from the T50 and just replace the T50-2 with the MT25. Not that they'd make. I didn't think that they'd make changes to the tech tree like this. Anyway, I think that's a bit disappointing. The way I would have done it in the place of wargaming would be I would have left the T50-2 behind the T50, and then I would just have the T50-2 leading up to the MT25, and then that leading up to the KV13, because I think that would kind of be nice, and that would give the KV13 at last a kind of an important role in the game, or a more important role in the game, is I think it's a nice tank and nobody ever gets it because it's just useless really. It's one of these tanks like the VK3002D was before patch 8.5, which just nobody needs. Anyway, that's the changes to the Russian tree. I think they're a bit I don't really see the sense in that. Okay, maybe if they want to make a new medium tank line going up to tier 10, I don't know what they're doing here, but it doesn't make any sense to me at the moment yet. Anyway, we aren't here because of the changes to the Russian tanks. We're here because of the new British artillery line, and it goes up to tier 10, tier 2 till tier 10. We'll just quickly have a look at them in the tech tree before we take a closer look in the garage. Yep, here they are, located beneath this Valentine line and beneath a heavy tank line. And from tier 2 till tier 10, you can go get the Bishop, that's the tier 5 SPG, from the Valentine. So that's now very useful to go down the Valentine line, because you can then go down the heavy tank line as well as down the SPG line. And I think these SPGs are looking pretty good, especially the high tier SPGs. I haven't had any games in any of these here except for the tier 10 SPG, just for the simple reason that I hate playing SPGs, and I really suck at playing SPGs, so you won't see any gameplay of me in any of these, because it's just really embarrassing the way I play SPGs. And then another thing is that anything I'll be telling you about these SPGs here, you shouldn't take that all that seriously, because I'm kind of a noob when it comes to SPGs. But anyway, I'll do my best, and let's have a look at them in the garage. So this is the Lloyd Gun Carrier, and it reminds me a bit of an Electo. That's the Tier 4 British TD. It hasn't got any front armor. It's just open to the front. So I imagine that it could be difficult hitting this tank from the front, because here and here the shots can just go right through, and there isn't a hitbox. From the sides, okay, this tank obviously hasn't got any armor. I think this here might be the motor. That might be a bit of a problem, because shots coming from the front will straight away hit the motor and cause an engine fire. But we're talking about an SPG here. It's got 80 hit points. Nobody really cares about fires or not, because once you're spotted in close combat, you're dead anyway. So nobody really cares. Then at Tier 3 for Sexton 2. We've seen you before, haven't we? This is the second edition of the Sexton. That's the, let's see, have a quick look at the text tree again. That's the Sexton 1 is the Tier 3 premium SPG for British, and the Sexton 2 looks more or less exactly the same. So obviously the gameplay is going to be very, very similar, if not exactly the same, in the Sexton 2 as in the Sexton 1. Then at Tier 4 we get the birch gun. Yes. This looks a bit like a toilet. A toilet on tracks. Yes. I don't know. It doesn't look very promising to me, but who am I to judge? So it looks very, very funny. Well, anyway, move on to Tier 5, the Bishop. Now we get a very ugly tank. It's obviously based on the hull of a Valentine, and looks a bit like a KV2 with this huge turret. And at last we get to dealing out some severe amount of damage, up to 550 damage about this gun can deal out. That's quite a lot at Tier 5. And obviously, because it's based on the Valentine, this tank is, or that isn't exactly a tank, is it? It's an SPG. It's got crappy speed. Oops, my computer is getting on my nerves all the time with his stuff popping up on the side. Anyway, it's very, very slow, very sluggish, very bad traverse speed, and so on. Then next we've got the FE304, and it uses the same gun as the Bishop. And this tank looks pretty good, because for one thing, it's extremely fast, 72.4 kph. I think that's probably the fastest SPG in the game. And then it's got the same gun as the Bishop, as I already said, but it's a very, very low profile, so it will probably have good camo values. And so this tank is looking very good. I think I could like this tank. Next we get the Crusader 5.5, and this body here reminds me of something like the M44 or something like that, M33-44, something like that. It looks a lot like the American SPGs. And the gun looks very, very serious, up to 1125 damage. Let's see, we're at Tier 7 now, aren't we? So this looks very nice. The rate of fire is reasonably good too, and okay. One thing that this thing's going to have a real problem with is the speed. Look at the speed, 14 kph. I think I've never seen a tank in the game with a speed limit as low as this. 14, that's ridiculous. The crew has to come out and push this tank if it wants to move. Therefore, it's got reasonably good traverse speed. So playing this tank can probably be pretty interesting. I over time say tank, it's an SPG. It's probably pretty interesting. Well, it looks kind of good to me. And again, it's got very, very low profile. And now we come to the big boys at tier 8, 9 and 10. The fighting vehicle 207 at tier 8. And we've seen this one here before too, haven't we? It's SU-14. Yeah, it hasn't got the same damage as an SU-14. It uses the same gun as its predecessor, but it's got the same design, and it looks very similar. So hiding this tank you'll have very, very big problems hiding this tank behind bushes and so on. Or hiding it generally, it will be spotted very, very quickly. We have got more or less the same design at tier 9 and 10. At tier 9, at last we get a very, very big gun. This gun dishes out up to 2,200 damage with 8 shot, and it looks very impressive too. So yeah, this is a gun worthy of a tier 9 tank. And then at tier 10, we get the Conqueror gun carrier, and yeah, again, it's got this kind of SU-14-ish design. It's obviously based on the chassis of a Conqueror, but one thing that is very, very interesting about this tank, or not a tank, about this SPG, is its armor. It's got 152mm of frontal armor. This is the only SPG in the game I know that has got armor, and it's got a pretty good armor. It's got 150mm slope back at this angle. If you're in close combat and you angle this tank, or this SPG about like this, it will bounce quite a few shots. And I've had quite a few games in this tank, this SPG, in which I bounced up to 3 shots in close combat. And the thing is that obviously this upper part here, this fighting compartment, isn't armored as strongly. Just have a look at the width of this armor plate here, and have a look at the strength of this one. I judge this is about 50mm at the most, so perhaps 70, but it isn't a lot. So don't rely on this part up here bouncing shots. But the thing is, people are used to when they meet artilleries not to look where they shoot. They just shoot at them because they know that they're going to penetrate. So a lot of shots are going to penetrate, are not going to penetrate because of the steep slope here. And then another good thing is that this upper part here is sloped back so steeply that it's obviously an auto bounce zone. So every shot hitting this upper layer here will bounce. One thing you have to be a bit careful about when driving this tank is obviously the side armor is crap. 50mm is really, really weak, and the rear armor actually is a bit better again, 76, but it's still bad. Yeah, the gun deals out between 1,650 and 2,750 damage. This is one of the SPGs with the most alpha damage in the game. It's even I've had splash damaging hits with 1,000 damage and more. So it's got a very terrifying gun, even if it looks a bit stubby and whatever. Anyway, the rate of fire, 1 round per minute, more or less exactly 1 round per minute, is pretty bad. It takes ages to reload. I think the reload time, the way I've got it now with the tank gun rammer and vents, is 52 seconds. So you have to remember that my crew is only at 75% or 76%. So the reload of this gun is pretty bad, and the accuracy isn't all that great either. But still, it's a very impressive gun. And the thing that makes this tank very interesting is its armor. 152mm of frontal armor on an SPG is very good, and people don't expect you to have this armor. I mean, they probably get the hang of it after a few weeks, after this patch is out, but at the start, nobody will realise that this upper glacis here bounces shots like hell. So I think this SPG here is going to be one of the probably one of the most popular SPGs on the battlefield, because it's got a lot of things going for it. The aiming time and the reload time aren't all that great, but except for that, it's a very, very nice machine, and I'm actually thinking about getting myself one of these myself. But as I said, I really suck at SPGs, so don't be expecting to see any SPG gameplay from me soon. Well, after talking through these new SPGs, we aren't finished yet with talking about the changes in patch 8.7, because there's still a new premium tank, the German E25 tier 7 tank destroyer, and this tank is it's a bit of a letdown, I think. 830 hit points is not very good. It's kind of average. It's very, very fast, 65 kilometers an hour. That's a very, very high speed. I think it's actually the fastest, or one of the fastest tank destroyers in the game. The traverse speed is very good, so it's a very, very maneuverable tank. But therefore, it's got crappy armor, 50 millimeters of armor. I mean, it's angled very, very well, but it won't bounce a shot at all. The guns that will be shooting at this tank here will just no way. Anyway, the damage. Well, we'll have a closer look at the gun later. Anyway, the gun traverse speed is very good too, and the view range is kind of okay. It's average, and the signal range is pretty good, but yeah, upper average as well. So I promised you to have a more detailed look at the gun, so here it is. And the gun is what kind of killed this tank for me. This is the gun of the Stug 3. It's exactly the same gun. It's the 7.5 centimeter Stuck 42 L70. The rate of fire is awesome. The penetration is really bad for tier 7. 150, you have real problems penetrating anything with this. The damage, and you have to remember this tank will get thrown into tier 8 matches as well. So that's very disappointing. The damage, 135, is crap considering that this is a tier 7 tank. Okay, the accuracy is amazing. 0.3 accuracy is very, very good. The aiming time is off the charts. 1.5 seconds aiming time is whoa, that's really good. But all the same, this is the gun that was very good on a tier 5 tank. It's no good on a tier 7 tank. I couldn't buy this tank because I had to spend my gold on the Jagdtiger 88 and the T34 so that I can test them, because I'm thinking about getting myself a new tier 8 premium tank. So I'm really sorry that I couldn't buy this tank, but it costs 7,000 gold. You can get the super Pershing for that. And this tank really sucks. I mean, okay, if you use it with gold ammo, you've got about 200 millimeters of penetration, so that's tolerable. But you don't want to use this tank with gold ammo because it's a premium tank. You want to make money with it. So if you want to get a tier 8, if you want to get a high tier German premium tank, get the Jagdtiger 88. It's a very nice tank. I've played it a few times already on this test server, and it will make a lot more money than this tank. It's a lot better, obviously, and it only costs 3,000 gold more. So I wouldn't recommend this tank. Although I think it might be fun playing it because of its high speed and so on, but the gun just really sucks. So anyway, we're still not done. There's one last thing I've got to show you, and that's a new map that will be introduced. And what I think is very nice about this map is that it's a winter map, because you see, if you think of it, World of Tanks up till now has only got 2 winter maps. That's Arctic region and Erlenberg. And now there's Belogorsk 19. And yeah, this is it. And this map is pretty interesting because basically the layout is just a cross. You've got mountains here, you've got kind of water here and mountains here. And then you've got like space here and here. It's just a cross basically with a city in the middle. I haven't had any games in this map yet, so I can't say all that much else about it. The very interesting thing is that the spawn points are quite far away from the bases. It's very similar to the map Cormoran. Most of you won't know this map anymore, but when I started playing this game, this map was still in the game, and it's just more or less the same layout. You've got the spawn points just moved 90 degrees away from the bases, and that makes playing these maps very interesting. Now Cormoran was removed a few patches ago. I think something like 7 point something what Cormoran was removed, and I wasn't really sad because I didn't like that map all that much. But this map looks pretty nice, and I think it's really good that they've added a winter map, because at last you get your money's worth out of winter camo. And I like winter maps anyway, they look very nice. So as in the last patch, as soon as I get a game in on this map, I'm straight away going to upload it, and that's probably going to be this evening, because or tomorrow or something like that, because my friend's coming over today, and we're going to have a training battle on this map. So yeah, see you then, and yeah, that was all till now. So thanks for watching a lot. If you like my video, give it a thumbs up, perhaps even subscribe to my channel, and watch out for that preview of that map. And yeah, thanks for watching a lot. Follow me on Facebook, and yeah, bye bye.